And now Andrew's doers. Andrew knows if they proudly presents. It's Sixerella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Sixerella. Sixerella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier made Sixerella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together. Then one day, the king of Sextuple-Hand's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Sextuple-Hand is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Sextuple. But Sixerella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Sophia said, He's going to marry me. Isabella said, No way, Sophia, you're wrong. He's going to marry me. Xavier said, Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Sixerella is so sad, doing chores while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Sixerella? Sixerella responds, I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Sextuple. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. Sixerella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand. Because of the 6 other chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Sixerella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Sixerella has 6 pumpkins. Sixerella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 6 pumpkins into a handsome coach. And then drawn by 12 strong horses, and then Sixerella's clothes into a gown and crown. Sixerella said, I've never seen such a sextuple-tastic gown, and get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? Her fairy godmother said, Well, you can't. But have fun, Sixerella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. Sixerella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Sextuple was wondering who he should marry. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together, He's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. Prince Sextuple is walking towards Sixerella. May I have this dance? As Prince Sextuple, Sixerella responds, I would be delighted. Prince Sextuple and Sixerella dance happily together, but later, Sixerella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both of her glass slippers. Prince Sextuple was so worried that he might never see Sixerella again. He then traveled around Sextuple-Hand to find her, and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocked on the door of the house where Sixerella, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier lived. But instead of Sixerella, he finds Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. Prince Sextuple said, Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you go try on these glass slippers? Sophia is first, but her feet are too big. Isabella is next, but her feet are too small. Xavier was last, but her feet didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Sextuple notices Sixerella's sweet singing. Sixerella then gets so excited because she's having her Prince Sextuple back. And Prince Sextuple doesn't have to put the 2 glass slippers back on her feet because they're so uncomfortable. And then Prince Sextuple and Sixerella lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Drawer Review. Want to see some sequels? Tell your friends about it. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share and buy our merchandise. Oh, look at that! And if we time it just right, it's 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents Sixerella 2, 6 Wishes Come True. Sequel to Sixerella based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 2 times, Sixerella and Prince Sextuple were happily married. But Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier have lots of tricks up their sleeves. They're complaining about not marrying Prince Sextuple. Several weeks later, Sixerella is pregnant but sick. Sixerella's fairy godmother knows a spell that can cure her. She waves her magic wand, not a minute too soon. Sixerella is cured and so is the baby. The baby is a girl too. Sixerella and Prince Sextuple named her Sixtima. To celebrate Sextima's birth, a fireworks show. But then one night while Sixerella and Prince Sextuple were sleeping, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier steal Sextima and take her to the middle of nowhere. The king of Sextupleham's messengers saw it and said, "Oh no, she's in trouble! Oh, big trouble!" He then goes over to the king of Sextuplehamn and tells him by saying, "Your Majesty, your granddaughter is captured." The king of Sextuplehamn gets so furious that he yells, "So the alarm!" that his messenger himself blows a trumpet alarm that his guards hear in order to find Sextima. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier then find a magic land and use it to kill Sextima. But their plan is interrupted by Sextima's foster parents, Sonia and Samson. Sonia asks, "What are you doing in the middle of nowhere, little lady?" Samson responds, "I don't know, honey, but let's take her home." Sonia and Samson then find their magic land that Sextima was holding. "Come back with our step-niece," said Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together. Meanwhile, back at Sextuplehamn, Sixerella and Prince Sextuple were really worried that they might never see Sextima ever again. 60 years later, Sextima is 6-year-old now. She makes new friends. One of them is named Hexie, who said, "Hey Sextima, you wanna play?" And so, Sextima agrees. But their ball flies through the air and is about to hit the local shopkeeper Jacali. Sextima rubs the magic lamp and the genie comes out of it and says, "You have released me from the lamp. I've been stuck in that for 6,666 years. You rubbed the lamp and set me free. And as a thank you for that, I want to grant you 6 wishes," Sextima said. "I wish the ball wouldn't hit Jacali. That's the first wish. Not a minute too soon, Jacali is saved," he said. Oh, good. How can I ever thank you enough? And the other townsfolk cheered for Sextima, but Hixie said to the quiet crowd, "Quiet, quiet!" And Sextima, imagine lives are against the rules, and as punishment, we're going to take you to Mount Sixon. Later, Sonia and Samson tell Sextima where they found her. Near Sextublingham. Sextima is surprised about the news and begins her journey home another 6 years later. Sextima is 12 years old now and used the other 4 wishes and only has 1 left. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier tried to steal their Stepnies again, but they couldn't find her. "I don't see Sextima anywhere," said Sophia. Isabella said, "Me neither." And Sixie and Xavier said last, "Although I saw a genie with our Stepnies." Xavier then said, "What did I just say? Our Stepnies, I found her." Sophia and Isabella said, "Splendid!" Together, Sextima said, "I wish my evil Stepnies would stop." And the genie said, "Your wish is my command," and turned Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier into stone statues. Later, a celebration at Sextublingham welcomes Sextima home. A citizen asks, "What did you do to return home?" In which Sextima responds with the help of a genie. And then Prince Sextubling and Sixerella hug their daughter and welcome her home. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. And if you want to see some sequels, Andrews, doers, tell your friends about it. Sixerella 3, Sextuple, Love, and Glee. Maybe I can do it. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Sixerella 3, Sextuple, Love, and Glee. Second sequel to Sixerella, based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 3 times, Sixerella and Prince Sextubling really loved each other. Well, that's about to change, thanks to Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier, who are making a 6/6 breakup potion, the most evil magic potion known to Sextublingham. They sneak up behind a fence. Sixerella, if Aaron remember, tries to stop them, but they lock her up, steal her wand, and then splash the potion on Sixerella and Prince Sextubling, who are now breaking up. Sixerella asks, "Is there anything I can do to reverse it?" Sixerella's fairy godmother, who is now locked up, explains that there's only one thing that could reverse 6/6's breakup potion. The Sextuple Bat Together potion. It needs ingredients: 6 Sextuple Grabble Apples, 12,000-year-old acorns, 18 cups of water, and the most important ingredient of all, 24 huge doses of love. First, Sextima needs 6 Sextuple Grabble Apples. She spots a Sextuple Grabble apple tree with the right amount. Hey! Next to the apple tree is a 1,000-year-old acorn tree with 12,000-year-old acorns, just like the recipe says. And Wanna-Sink Lake is the biggest lake in all of Sextublingham. It never dries up, even in summer. Later, Sextima makes the Sextuple Bat Together potion, and just in time, Sixerella and Prince Sextubling are back together, and Sixerella's fairy godmother got her magic wand back from Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers, I hope you enjoyed this story. And I bet you love Sixerella 4. Sixes galore or something like that. Tell your friends about it. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Sixerella 4, The Legend of Mount Sixermore. A third sequel to Sixerella, based on the story of Cinderella, with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 4 times, Sixerella and Prince Sextupling, with their 12-year-old daughter, Sextima, are going for a walk to celebrate Sixerella and Prince Sextupling's first anniversary. Suddenly, a teenage boy named Samson is stuck on top of Mount Sixermore. Sixerella's fairy godmother flies to help them. But Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier have lots of tricks up their sleeves. Sixerella's fairy godmother whistles to call her pet wing horses. No! So that they can ride them and fly to save Samson, and just in time. He thought he was going to die, he said. Thank you, Sextupling family. Later, in the sky, they try to fly back home, back to Sextuplingham, but they took a wrong turn in Sextupling skies. This gives Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier an idea. They steal Sixerella's fairy godmother's pet wing horses, ride them, and take over Sextupling. Hiya! Said Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier, to Sixerella's fairy godmother's pet wing horses all together to ride them. The king of Sextuplingham's messenger inside. Oh, no, she's in trouble. Oh, big trouble! He then goes over to the king of Sextuplingham and tells him by saying, Your Majesty, 3 evil ladies are riding your daughter-in-law's fairy godmother's fairy pet wing horses and are about to attack us! That Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier had stolen Sixerella's fairy godmother's pet wing horses and are heading for Sextuplingham. Sound the alarm! Yells the king of Sextuplingham. His messenger blows a trumpeter. His guard yells, Charge! As they attack back. Sixerella's fairy godmother tries to stop them, but she doesn't have her magic wand. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier stole it! Sixerella and Prince Sextupling asked the people of Sextupling about anything they could do. Luckily, there's only one thing that they can do to stop Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. A magic spell. The Queen of Sextupling Skies says, We can help by using my spell book. Later, back at Sextuplingham, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier and the king of Sextuplinham's guards fight. Fortunately, the queen of Sextupling Skies casts a storm that's so loud. Boo, 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 patter, 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 patter. That to frighten Sextupling's Sixerella's fairy godmother's pet wing horses that causes them to buck. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier off their backs. Sixerella's fairy godmother was so worried about her magic wand and her precious pet wing horses, but happy to have them back. The king accepts Tumblingham said to the Queen of Six Stunning Skies, "Huzzah! Thank you, sister," which surprises Sixerella, who says, "Queen of Six Tumbling Skies, you're my father-in-law's sister?" And so she replies, "Yes, indeed I am. I haven't seen my brother in a generation." And so they all lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at InterDoesEverything.com. Take care, Andrews Doers. Bye. And one last thing. If you want to see Sixerella 5, that's okay with it. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Sixerella 5, Feeling Sextuple Aged Alive, a fourth sequel to Sixerella, based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we, Andrews Doers? Once upon 5 times, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier are trying to think of a way to stop Sixerella and Prince Sextuple. While they were doing that, Xavier, the youngest stepsister, trips and stumbles down a hill. Halfway down, a springy mushroom launches her into the air. Xavier lands into the legendary sextuple pool of youth. And whoever in Sextuple bathes in the pool turns into a baby. Sixerella and Prince Sextuple find baby Xavier, and the only way is to reverse the Sextuple pool of youth is to find the oldest plant in Sextuple Flower Forest. The Sextuple Groa Gladiola. Its pollen can reverse the magic of the Sextuple pool of youth. "How can we get there?" asks Prince Sextuple. Sixerella's fairy godmother and her pet winged horses can help. Yes! And Prince Sextuple to her pet winged horses. Nay! Nay! Later, as they ride Sixerella's fairy godmother's pet winged horses. Nay! Nay! They find the Sextuple Groa Gladiola just in time. They gather its pollen so Xavier can grow up again. But a storm is coming! The Queen of Sextuple Skies, messenger, son, and said, "Oh, no, I'm in trouble. Oh, big trouble! Oh, no. He then goes over to the Queen of Sextuple and tells her by saying, "Your Royal Highness, our new friends are in trouble. A storm is heading their way. Sound the alarm!" yells the Queen of Sextuple Skies, in which her messenger blows a trumpet alarm. Her guards hear and say, "Charge!" While they were doing that, the Queen of Sextuple Skies casts a spell to stop the storm, and just in time, Prince Sextuple and Sixerella and baby Xavier are saved. And then Sixerella sprinkles the pollen of the Sextuple Groa Gladiola, and Xavier is grown up again. Sixerella, I'm sorry I was being ugly, mean, and wicked. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to," she said. Later, Xavier, who is now a good stepsister, Sixerella and Prince Sextuple lived happily ever after. The end. Andrews Doers, I hope this was a fun story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at InterDoesEverything.com. Take care. Bye. And now, Internet Everything proudly presents Sixerella 6! 6 is in a fix! A fifth sequel to Sixerella, based on the story of Cinderella, with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we, Andrews Doers? Once upon 6 times 12 years after their tweenhood, Sixtima and Six are now young adults now. But Sophia and Isabella still have lots of tricks up their sleeves. They're complaining about their youngest sister Xavier reforming. Later, their wedding is a big success, and after that, Sixtima is pregnant, but sick. Very, very sick. Luckily, Sixerella's fairy godmother knows a spell that can cure her, and just in time, the baby is cured in a girl named Simona. To celebrate her birth, a flying lantern. Suddenly, the legendary Six's monster arrives. Again at Sixerella, Sixtima Samson, and Princess Toppling. 6 years later, Simona is really sad about her grandparents and parents, aka the King Sextumbling, his son, daughter-in-law, grandson-in-law, and granddaughter. Whatever will I do? She whimpers while she was crying so hard. She trips, flies through the air, and gets a armor's helmet stuck on her head. This gives her an idea. She puts on the armor and uses the sword, but they're too big. Luckily, Sixerella's fairy godmother knows a spell that can cure her. That can help. And so she chants the magic words. So, Shazam, Shazam, sword and armor. Shrink, shrink, shrink. And waves her magic wand to make the armor and some sword to match Simona's size. She then sees the Six's monster's cave, but it's too far away. How can I get there? Asks Simona. A winged horse arrives to help Simona and gives her a ride. Do you think I can tag along? Asks Xavier. And so, Simona agrees. Later, as they arrive at the Six's monster's cave, there was a mathematical problem to open the door to the cave. 6 times 6 over 6 times 6 over 6 times 6 over 6 equals what? And so, the answer is 1. She then sees Sixtima, Samson, Sixerella, and Princess Toppling by slaying the Six's monster. Take that, she said. Later, back at Sixtumblingham Castle, the king of Sixtumblingham officially declares his great-granddaughter, Sixtumblingham's only flying knight. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Internet Everything. And buy our merchandise at interneteverything.com. And I bet I'm making the Sixerella sequels. And maybe I can do it. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrews Doers, Internet Everything proudly presents Sixerella 7, gazing up to Sextumbleheaven, a 6 equal to Sixerella, based on the story of Cinderella. With a bit of a twist. Once upon 7 times, Sixerella, Prince Sextupling, Sextima, Samson, and Xavier, who is now a good stepsister and not ugly, mean, and wicked anymore, are taking Simona, Sextuplinham's only flying knight, for a walk. Sophia and Isabella, who remain ugly, mean, and wicked though, they also still have lots of tricks up their sleeves and still can do anything to stop them. Suddenly, they hear someone scream for help. It was a teenage boy named Stanley, who was stuck in a cave on top of Mount Sycamore. Luckily, Simona knows what to do. He jumps on her trusty winged steed, flies to the rescue, uses her sword to slice the boulder blocking the cave's entrance, resulting in Stanley being free. But Sophia and Isabella capture them, bring them to the deadliest place in Sextuplingham, the River Six Sixes. Fortunately, Sixerella's fairy godmother chants the magic words. Fippity, foopity, peek and pie. Sophia and Isabella, you two now die! And waves her magic wand. And not a minute too soon, Sophia and Isabella are dead! Stanley says, "Thank you for saving me, Simona Sextupling." Later, back at Sextuplingham Castle, a celebration in Sextuplingham honors Simona, their only flying knight. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at andrewdoeseverything.com. And I've also been debating on making the Sixerella sequels a bit of tradition. So if you want to see maybe someday Sixerella 8, The Legend of Sixerella Lake, tell your friends about it. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents Sixerella 8, The Legend of Sixerella Lake, a 7th sequel to Sixerella, based on the story of Cinderella, with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 8 times, Sixerella, Prince Sextupling, Sextima, Samson, and Xavier, who is now a good stepsister and not ugly, mean, and wicked anymore, are taking Simona to Sixerella Lake for the very first time. By the time they arrive, the king of Sextuplingham wants them to watch out for the lady of Sixerella Lake, who lives under the water of Sixerella Lake, and is a mischievous, rambunctious trickster. And so they accepted the warning. Sophia and Isabella hear it and get an idea. And later, Sixerella, Prince Sextupling, Sextima, and Xavier are having fun on Sixerella Lake, but is interrupted by the lady of Sixerella Lake. Just like the king of Sextupling, and warn them about, "What have we got here?" she asks. She then casts a spell to kill them, but before she could, Sixerella arrives to save them by trapping her in a bubble, by chanting the magic words, "Sixty, Soxty, Sue!" And not a minute too soon. The lady at 6016 Lake is trapped in a bubble. Sophia and Isabella save her by popping it. The lady at 6016 Lake then asks Sophia and Isabella if they'd like to team up with her, and by saying, "Would you like to team up with me?" And so they agree. Not so fast, said the king at 6016 and his advisor, Sexton, who arrests Sophia and Isabella in the dungeon. But the 6016 Lake jumps back into the water. 6016 Lake. Later, they all lived happily ever after. The end. And I'm making the Sixerella based on Cinderella's sequels a bit of tradition. So maybe when you want to see Sixerella 9 ups and downs will be fine. And I guess that's it for today's show. Don't forget to subscribe, like it, share, and internalize everything. And buy our merchandise at internalizeeverything.com. Take care. Bye. And now, Internalize Everything proudly presents Sixerella 9. Ups and downs will be fine. A crossover between Sixerella and Ninerella, who are both based on the story of Cinderella. Also, the 8th sequel to Sixerella, which is also based on the story of Cinderella, with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon 9 times, Sixerella, Princess Tony, Sextima, Samson's mother, and Xavier, who is now a good stepsister and not ugly, mean, and wicked anymore, are invited to a ball thrown by the Queen of Sextumbling Skies. Later, the Queen of Sextumbling Skies, who is the King of Sextumbling sisters, says, "And now, it's dance time. But first, is everyone ready for the fireworks?" To which everyone exclaims, "Yes!" But the Sextumbling Skies fireworks machine is a portal machine. There was a mix-up in the delivery. The portal sucks. Sixerella, Princess Tumbling, Sextima, Samson, Simona, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier inside to reveal a strange town. "Welcome to Nonology," said Ninerella and Prince Nonology for the Ninerella story. Sixerella, Princess Tumbling, Sextima, Samson, Simona, and Xavier, and Sophia and Isabella are confused. Later, Sixerella and Ninerella discover something they have in common. They love numbers, math, etc. Sixerella and Ninerella's fairy godmothers fly to help them get back home to Sextumblingham. Suddenly, Xavier falls into magical water, making her ugly, mean, and wicked again. Sophia and Isabella are so impressed about it. Suddenly, Ninerella's ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella meet them. They ask each other if they'd like to team up, and so they agree. "Not so fast!" shouts Sixerella and Ninerella. The fairy godmother chants the magic words, 60, 90, 60, 90, snoo! And waves their magic wands. Exactly at the same time, which causes their magic to combine and trap Sophia, Isabella, Xavier, Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella. Isabella, 6 main. He says, from Sixerella says, "You're Isabella? I'm Isabella. Samson, 6 main. Sophia and Xavier, you're Isabella. Isabella, 6 main. To which Isabella says, "Yes, my initials are ISS. Isabella Ninerella says her initials are ISN by saying my initials are Isabel Starman Nightmane, which surprises Isabel from both Sixerella and Ninerella. Meanwhile, Sixerella and Princess Tumbling, who are now heroes, between Sex Tumblingham and Nonology alike, love Nonology, but here to return home back to Sex Tumbling. Luckily, Ninerella and Prince Nonology offered to help. Later, back at Sex Tumblingham, the Queen of Sex Tumblingham was trying to figure out how she got the portal machine instead of the fireworks machine she ordered. She asks her advisor to help her, and so he accepts. And then Ninerella and Princess Tumbling solve an algebraic problem to open up another portal back to Sex Tumblingham. 6 times 9 plus x equals 69. Leave it to me, said Simona. They solve by regrouping. 6 times 9 is 54. And x, they take away 54 from both sides, and x equals 15. And not a minute too soon, they're back at Sex Tumblingham. A celebration in both Sex Tumblingham and Nonology welcomes Sixerella, Princess Tumbling, Sextima, Samson, and Simone back again to Sex Tumbling, and they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this crossover story. Sixerella 9. I've been waiting on making the Sixerella and Ninerella sequels a bit of tradition. So maybe if you want to see someday Ninerella 3 and Sixerella 10, a bit of it. Maybe that I can do it. Take care, Andrews Doers. Bye.